Hello everyone. How you feeling tonight? I feel okay. I went to work today, did a lot of work. Got a lot of work done. Didn't really talk to anybody, just spent there working all day. But that's fine. Today happens to be a special anniversary. Today is the 30th, that's 30th anniversary of the original Game Boy in Japan. It didn't come to America until summertime, 1989. I got it later that year, and it was a big deal that I got one because I received it as a gift for my bar mitzvah. And I should stress that growing up, I didn't get video games as presents. My parents didn't really care for video games. I mean, they didn't care if I played them. We always, if we went somewhere there were arcade games, they would just let me go and play them. But they were very much against giving me video games. So if I asked for a birthday present or a Hanukkah present, I didn't bother asking for games because they weren't going to buy them. So all the games I ever bought were games that I used like allowance money or later on job money. Any money I would get, I would spend on video games, and that they were okay with that. But they never gave me anything. So I'm not 100% sure who gave me that Game Boy all those years ago. I know probably around the same time my grandmother gave me a video game for NES, but I'm pretty sure she gave me Burger Time, which I'm sure I played, but, you know, Burger Time, Game Boy's a lot better than Burger Time, let's be honest. And yeah, Game Boy was the first console I remember that broke on me. Like, it just stopped working. Apparently this was a design flaw of early Game Boys. Like, if you played it enough, eventually, you know, it was an LCD screen. Eventually, there would just be these solid blank lines on the screen where there was no more data. So the game was working. I could play the game all I wanted, but the display slowly stopped displaying. And it started on the edges, which made most games just playable, just a little bit inconvenient. But eventually, there were solid missing lines in the middle of the screen, and I couldn't play it anymore. But by that point, the Game Boy wasn't cool anymore, so I thought, oh, I don't need another Game Boy. But guess what? In 1999, about 10 years ago, that's when the rush of Pokemon came, and Game Boy Color, and like new models of Game Boy. So I ended up buying a new Game Boy in 1999, and I played. First of all, I played Pokemon. I played Pokemon all the way through, but then I started playing other older Game Boy games again because I had a brand new Game Boy. I was like, oh, look at all these games I didn't play, and I started playing a lot of games. And then only a couple years later, the Game Boy Advance debuted, which played all Game Boy games. So I bought that, but for a long time, I only used it to play Game Boy games. I didn't really have a lot of Game Boy Advance games. I've barely played Game Boy Advance, to be frank. When I got my Game Boy Advance, it was mostly for me to play Game Boy games with it. And one game in particular that I remember spending a lot of time on was the original Dragon Quest. Yes, they ported Dragon Quest 2, and Dragon Quest 3 all to the Game Boy Color. I think Dragon Quest 1 and 2 were like a combination cartridge, and then Dragon Quest 3 was its own cartridge. But whatever. I bought all those games, and I played all the way through, which was fun because in 1989, I thought Dragon Quest was dumb. It didn't make sense to me. But by 1999, it was kind of charming. So, yeah. 1989, I got a Game Boy, and I ended up playing Game Boy games for the next 12, 13 years. Really? I would say it wasn't until the DS came out that I fully went to the new thing and stopped playing Game Boy games. But even still, 3DS, when 3DS added Game Boy games to Virtual Console, I bought several Game Boy games on my 3DS, which, oh hey, it's right here. I wonder if it powers on. It powered on. Yep, look at that. There's some Game Boy games on my 3DS. I haven't turned this on in years and it still has almost a full battery. That's fascinating. Anyway, Game Boy's great. Good night, everybody. I love you.